Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived because we are back talking My Hero Academia Season 6. This is the Amateur Otaku podcast. It is been a wild ride, guys, getting here. Isaac, how you doing, man? We're back talking MHA. This is something that we've been doing consistently for the last year and a half. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I believe that. And we seems to have a guest on this episode.
Oh, looky there. We do have a guest. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing well. This was a wild episode, so I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, this was a time. If you're just now joining us, we're talking My Hero Academia Season 6, episodes 120, 121. If you are not caught up, this is your spoiler warning. I'm sorry. If you're not caught up and you're here at this live stream, it's kind of weird. But regardless, let's hop right into it. First episode was Disaster Walker. Somehow, Gigantomachia has woken up. He is risen, and it is terrifying. And Jamie, you haven't really been a part of our My Hero discussions. What have been your thoughts on this entire assault on the paranormal liberation front, and how things seemed like they were going so well, and now it's the worst possible outcome?
Well, I starting the season off, like I knew, like, it's gonna be like everything's going good, and then like everything goes bad. And so I'm like, let me wait until things start getting juicy for me to give my opinions. Because right now I'm just waiting for the ball to drop. So now that we've gotten to that point, like really think things are heating up in ways that I never would have seen. Like, spoiler warning, but like the Hawks is maybe permanently injured, maybe not. I'm like, oh my god, they did this to my boy Hawks.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. We just didn't go back to him yet.
no. And then freaking don't remember her name, but the one that everybody loves that like is like the bunny lady, like
Minako.
I don't know. Yeah, like is she gonna be okay? Because she definitely got battered and bruised, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of heroes are coming out of this with at least some scars.
Yeah, it's brutal, and I'm glad you said you were waiting for the ball to drop, because I feel like a lot of people felt that way, right? Going into this, everything was going way too smoothly. Like even Mirko was getting beat pretty badly, but she still got the job done. It's when Shigaraki broke out of that glass where it's like, oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
And
that poor guy. The guy that was supposed to be watching over him.
Yeah, I still have a theory, and Isaac, you can back me up on this. This is all Exless's fault. Like, he died, poor Exless, but he's the reason all this happened. He's Mr. Oh, let me blow up the computers. Let me blow up all of the wires in the containers, and guess what? It electrocutes Shigaraki. All of this could have been avoided if he just left the computers alone and carried the body out. We would be good. Am I wrong, Isaac?
No, you're not.
He started World War III. It's wild. But going into the meat of this episode, Disaster Walker. Yeah, Gigantomachia. It is up and about, and it is awful. It's awful for the team in the villa. It's awful for Deku and our heroes fighting Shigaraki. One, Shigaraki knows One for All. He now knows Izuku has that power. And I think it's really interesting having that parallel where All for One is in Shigaraki's head, kind of guiding him, saying, get this power, and Shigaraki rejects it. And then we have Deku hearing the voice of One for All in his head, and he embraces it. He does exactly what they're telling him to do. So I think it was fascinating how they kind of made that parallel between Izuku and Tomura way more prevalent in this season, because it's nothing we really thought about, honestly, in the previous 5 seasons of the show. So we have Midnight give the kids instructions on how to take down Gigantomachia. This is spilling over into League of Villains versus UA Students. The reason I'm breaking up this conversation this way is because in the manga, these are two separate battles. The anime is taking liberties by splicing them together. It makes it flow a little bit better because we're going back and forth rather than sticking 5 episodes with Yaoyorozu and the kids here away from Deku. Because that just is a big chunk of time that made no sense in the manga when we look back at it. Okay. So, League of Villains versus UA Students. Isaac, I'm going to toss it over to you. What are your thoughts on how they handled that fight and basically the unstoppable force of Gigantomachia?
I mean, I think it worked perfectly. It was executed perfectly, honestly, and I know that this is something that we don't talk about often or at all. I can't remember last time we did it, but the soundtrack for this episode particularly is arguably how should I put it? There were some specific songs that I didn't recognize that I just felt they sure as hell did their best to plus ultra this episode regarding in the score department.
Yeah, Yuki Hayashi did the dang thing for this episode. I actually made an entire video over on my channel, shameless plug, about how My Hero Academia uses music to bolster emotional scenes like this. And yeah, it's a prime example of the soundtrack really added a lot of weight to what was going on. And I want to toss it over to you, Jamie. What were your thoughts on the surprise of Midnight like getting slammed to that concrete wall, and we have no idea what's going on with her right now? She might be down like permanently.
Oh, I'm adding it to the list of heroes that I need to have checkups with after all of this is over. I'm like, how there's just I don't want to say so many fatalities, but it's like so many of these heroes that I feel like I felt similar to the kids. Like so many of these heroes that the kids are looking up to, that are their mentors, their teachers, whatever have you, and they're just like getting brutally knocked down and permanently scarred in some cases. So to see like Midnight was another one that went down, I'm like, oh my god, like will anybody be able to will anybody be left among the teaching staff by the time that this is over? Like, oh my gosh, all the teachers gonna roll up in wheelchairs and stuff next semester. Like, all right, guys, this is what I did wrong. Don't do this, okay? Like, yeah. I don't know. This is I'm kind of, I don't know, like shock would definitely be a way to describe it, even though we've definitely seen a lot of heroes go down throughout this season, but it was still, this one hits a little closer to home because we spent so much time with her.
Do you think the heroes pull this out, or do you think this is going to be the season where they lose? They just straight up lose? Because there's no All Might coming in this time.
Yeah, right now it's kind of feeling like they'll lose this. And I feel like at least for me, the question isn't whether or not they'll lose. It's like how badly they lose. Like what will be like the permanent losses that result from all the fighting that's going on. Because we already know like the city that's nearby the battle and even been included in some of these battles has already received like permanent damage, and there's definitely been significant casualties, civilian casualties there. So I don't know, like I can't see how this arc will be complete without like with the heroes succeeding. Like I feel like even if they do win and are able to fend off Shigaraki for some moment, they still lose at the end of this.
Yeah, it's not a win if you lose Eraserhead's power.
Honestly. Oh yeah, and even that I was like, oh my god, I feel like that ending is the first ending this season where I'm like legitimately, oh no, like they need to drop the next episode like right now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's painful. I want to circle back to Midnight right quick though. Specifically for you, Isaac. Don't make it weird. But for Midnight, did you notice that they added some anime only content for her scenes? Like when she gets hit by that compress attack, that's not in the manga. They added that to give us some context on what's going on with her. Like, did you pick up on that?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So in the manga, this is not a spoiler anymore because we're past this point. They leave her situation ambiguous. We don't know why she sounds distressed, why she sounds out of breath when she calls Yaoyorozu. We don't see what happens. So the anime went out of their way to say, yeah, she got rocked bad, which I thought was interesting. They've added a few scenes with her and Mount Lady this season, which I think were cool because it just adds more context.
Oh, Mount Lady wasn't there either?
Mount Lady was like the only time we see Mount Lady in the manga is when she's holding on to Gigantomachia's like leg and trying to drag him back. All of the other stuff leading up to that point is not in the manga. So shout out to the animation team and everybody at Bones for adding much needed context to this episode. We're gonna jump over to Izuku and everybody else fighting Tomura. I think it's so fascinating the route that they went with, making him essentially part Nomu, in the sense that Eraserhead is erasing all of his quirks, but he is still the fastest dude on the battlefield and the strongest dude on the battlefield. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what else can you do, let alone when you lose Eraser? We'll get to that in a second because, oh my gosh, that might be the cruelest cliffhanger I have ever seen in my life.
Yep. I thought Chainsaw Man was doing me dirty with the cliffhangers, but this one was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But Isaac, I want your thoughts on how they're animating everything in this fight. Especially Endeavor. Like Endeavor, I feel like is getting some of the best scenes in the entire series. But once we start flashing to Izuku, that's where you know where the budget went.
Well, how should I put it? As much as I love Hero's Mission, it shows that they aren't doing a movie on at the same time, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. The A team got assigned the anime for once rather than the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Deku doesn't look weird and off model this episode. I thought it was fascinating.
But hey, they have never reached Seven Deadly Sin territory or Dragon Ball Super in the beginning territory, so that's something.
Don't remind me of Seven Deadly Sins. That was ugly.
Oh man.
It's awful. Gran Torino is another casualty.
Oh my god, yeah.
There was a really awesome moment in this episode where Izuku is told to stay put. And from episode 1, we know that Izuku will never stay put. Famously, he runs in to save Bakugo from the sludge monster, even though he had no power. Mm-hmm. So when Gran Torino tells him to stay, he goes after Shigaraki. I thought it was a great, subtle moment, and I think Brandon would appreciate this a lot. Deku has never been faster than Gran Torino. Gran Torino had a good 5-second head start before Deku left, and Deku beat him to Shigaraki, which just shows how much he has leveled up in the series, because remember, he couldn't lay a finger on Gran Torino, and now he gave him a head start and still passed him. I thought was awesome. But the moment's completely undercut by him just getting buried by Shigaraki. And that was a lot of blood. It was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. I really don't know. I know what happens because I've read the manga, and I still don't know how to react to this battle. But yeah, were there any standouts for you guys this episode, or these 2 episodes? Because we also had Kirishima and Mina Ashido going against Gigantomachia, which I thought was crazy.
You know, I have to give Mina the credit where credit is due. I feel like she doesn't really do a whole lot in the series in general. And so when I saw her step up and, you know, her goose served a purpose, I was like, oh yeah, you know, getting through the fire. Like, all right, Mina. And then she chokes at the end and like, damn it, Mina. Like I'm like, dang, I thought I'd at least get the throw off. At least get the throw off, but no. Thankfully Kirishima, you know, he caught her jar and was able to still, I guess, bring her a little bit more into the light.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts about that one. Isaac, how do you feel about setting up this great moment for Pinky and then just not following through and giving it to Kirishima, who's already had multiple moments throughout the entire series?
I was kind of. I mean, to some extent, I get why they just did the whole fake out kind of deal with, oh shit, flashback kind of deal, just to make it more give it more suspense. But I would have personally preferred if she managed to got through her demons and managed to properly throw it, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I agree.
You could have had Kirishima's moment without her just freezing.
Or you could just had a team up attack. Like they both do it together. We already know that they're friends before they even came to UA.
Yeah, that's so yeah, that part is a bit disappointing, I will admit. But then again, they wanted to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those annoying shonen tropes where the female characters in these stories don't often do a lot, and it's frustrating. And I know in a season where we had Mirako be the best character in the show, it's probably kind of weird to say that, but it's like, why didn't we have Mina have that moment? Because Uraraka hasn't had a moment. Yaoyorozu, she got the plan together, but like, is that enough to really call it a moment for her either? So
I mean, she is one of the smartest student in UA, and so you can argue that she could show off her tactical ability kind of deal, and that's one way to show off your skills, I dare argue.
You can't argue that. Still not as hyped as seeing Deku go 45% smash on Shigaraki, though.
I mean, no one, no student, even Bakugo or Shoto, is going to be able to do something like that. So, so that's a pretty mean comparison, my friend.
I wouldn't say it's a mean comparison. It just proves the point, though, of Shoto and Bakugo get Deku level treatment, and no female characters anywhere close to that. That's the problem. That's the point. And you can argue Mirako did that, but Mirako was essentially a one and done, right? She came in, had an awesome moment, got the crap beat out of her, and where is she? I don't know. and that's my problem with how they handle female characters, not just in My Hero Academia, but in shonen stories in general. Nobody's as bad as Sakura and Ino from Naruto in this series. So I give Horikoshi that. He made better characters than Mishimoto when it comes to female representation in these stories.
But hey, Tsunade is at least awesome in Naruto.
She's stuck behind a desk 90% of the time, but
yeah, but when she fights, she's awesome. That's what I mean.
Awesome. But again, 90% of the time she's behind a desk.
Yeah, I know.
But
I didn't say that she got enough content. I'm just say that when she truly shines, she shines. That's what I meant.
I get you. I shouldn't be talking this much crap on Horikoshi's birthday. Happy birthday, Kohei Horikoshi, author of My Hero Academia. We enjoy your content. Just have better female characters next time.
I also found out today is Joe Biden's birthday, so they got the same birthday.
Yeah, but Joe Biden's like 1,000, so he celebrated.
Yeah, he turned 80. He turned 80 today.
Oh my gosh!
Is it there? What is it? a professional fighting game player that's called Joe Biden also. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so this was a fun couple of episodes we're going through. It's very action heavy, not a lot of progression as far as the story goes. We got to address the elephant in the room though, which is Eraserhead, who's been the most important character on that battlefield outside of Deku and Shigaraki themselves. He's the only person able to keep this guy at a manageable level because we saw one touch of the ground, he destroyed the entire city.
Yeah.
So him getting hit with this quirk erasing bullet, and they had to hit you hard with the music and Deku flashing back to that awful day where Mirio, Togata, Lemillion gets hit with the bullet, protecting Eri, and losing his quirk forever. And the episode just ends there. First off, Jamie, what's your thoughts on how the heck do they recover from this? And two, that again might be the most evil cliffhanger I have seen in a while.
Yeah. So my immediate thoughts were like, oh, so why didn't they start running? Like as soon as I heard he had a bullet, I'm like, okay, they need to get him out of here. They need to move immediately. And maybe things were happening in slow motion, so I was like, they only had so much time to react. But that was my first thought. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then my second thought, which I just thought of actually, I'm like, well, maybe his clothes are really thick. Okay, so maybe the needle it doesn't pierce his skin, so we're good. It's just like for a moment he blinks and he's like, "Oh no!" And then maybe something bad happens, but then he realizes he still got his quirk. So it's everything goes okay. So that's what I'm gonna believe for the next week until I see the episode. He's got some really thick pants on because he was prepared for this moment. That's what I have to believe.
In that case, he should just come in with full-on body armor, and the only thing exposed are his eyes, so he can shut the quirks out.
I'm not arguing with you there.
Here's a hole for that theory. It's that the episode ends and you see the light start to fade in his eyes. He's not necessarily blinking. It's like the quirk is stopping. And that's the thing where it's like, oh boy, I hope that doesn't mean what you're insinuating, anime. But also, yeah, I think they're just working in anime time where everybody's able to have a full conversation, but in reality, 5 seconds have passed.
Yep, some of that Dragon Ball Super tournament arc stuff.
Yes. Also, he has to stay, like, this is the problem. It's a catch-22. He has to stay in range so he can see the dude to turn the power off. But if he stays too close, he's now a liability because, yeah, he can't do anything. He doesn't have super speed. He doesn't have super strength. His quirk essentially just levels the field so he can outmaneuver you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very limited, but also the most powerful weapon that the heroes have. Isaac, what were your thoughts on how they handled the Eraserhead stuff and how tense it was when we got there?
I mean, how should not sounding like an asshole, but on the one hand, I mean, just holy shit, they ended on like that, and laughing maniacally, and just I wonder what specifically anime only react to that cliffhanger.
Not good. I don't think it's good.
Definitely I'm scared for what's gonna happen there.
So again, going back to the manga, that's not how that chapter ends. The chapter doesn't end with him getting hit with that bullet and you have a week-long cliffhanger. You see what happens on the next page. So that was Bones intentionally cutting that chapter in half so you don't know what happens.
And it was genius.
It was genius. That's why I'm like, oh, that's evil. That is so messed up. Luckily, I already know what happens, but I'd probably be really stressed out right now because Aizawa is my favorite character, and oof.
I thought it was Hawks.
I mean, where is Hawks, though? Like, I was not doing well with this arc, Isaac. I really was going through it because Hawks is amazing. When Dark Shadow is just like, they're gone. It's like, oh, because Hawks kept saying, oh, yeah, they grow back. Do they if they're completely gone?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like he might have some chicken wings or no wings by the end of this. I don't know.
Yeah.
And all thanks to Hot Wings.
Yep.
God, I hate Dobby so much. What do you think his agenda is? Because it feels like he's up to something outside of everything else that's going on. Because he like reluctantly goes with the rest of the League of Villains, and he's just the entire season he's just been doing his own thing. Like Jamie, what are your thoughts on what's going on with Dobby?
To be honest with you, I have no idea what he could be up to. I think like him and Shigaraki, they're like usually, pretty close or at least working towards the same goal. So I don't know if maybe he's a part of some other plan where like you just decay one city, you go burn down the other city. I don't know if that's what they're planning on doing or if they're really trying to hit the heroes where it hurts. We haven't seen him like interact with the heroes in the way that Hawks has, where he's like double agent. So I don't think that if he did that, then like he must have had a killer disguise. Like there's no way. But
it's weird because but it's just weird because he keeps saying that he's modeling himself after the hero killer Stain, and we know he's got this weird vendetta against Endeavor, and it's like, do you think he's gonna find a way to take some of these other heroes out? Because he already took down number 2. Like, does he have like a checklist that he's gonna run through type of situation? Because that's what it felt like they were kind of insinuating.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. I would not be surprised if he had his list and he checked it twice with some of these heroes.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how they're approaching Dobby, how they're keeping everything kind of shrouded in mystery. The only thing that bugs me, and I don't know about you, Isaac, one thing that bugs me is that when we were reading this, when it was coming out, I could have sworn this entire fight took place at night. Why is it daytime?
Sorry, easier to animate, I assume.
I guess it just ruins the feel of the atmosphere sometimes because it's so dang bright. And I'm like,
that's the only reason I can think of that they do it in day than night, honestly.
Yeah, because I'm like, I could have sworn it was a lot moodier in the manga than it is in the anime. The anime,
yeah.
When you think about it, the anime never takes place at night. And I think that's a weird thing that Bones has been doing where it is never nighttime in My Hero Academia. Whereas in the manga, I could have sworn some of these fights and some of these stories took place at night. But it's always the same freaking blue sky. Like the League of Villains arc last season, I could have sworn was at night. And Shigaraki's just decaying folks in broad daylight. It's kind of weird. That's just a strange animation choice that I kind of noticed.
I didn't know that. I feel like one, it could be just the fact that it might be easier to animate these things if it's during the day, so that way they don't have to worry about different lighting sources and all that junk.
Yeah.
But it's also, like whenever somebody reports that a crime has happened during the day, they're like everyone's like during broad daylight, like really? Like that's kind of, bold of someone to do. So I feel like it might not have delivered the same vibe as it being like really menacing, but it still definitely delivers the feeling of wow, like they're really being bold and they feel confident about like whatever plan they're trying to execute right now.
Speaking of confidence, Tomura Shigaraki, right? This dude had the nerve to knock Endeavor to the ground, stand on him, fist raised in the air. And it's like, wait, was it the other arm? Just mocking him in all might. That is just so savage. I want you guys' thoughts on Shigaraki because Endeavor has a line where he's like, we're not going to allow you to burn the world without conviction. And we have this incredible monologue from Shigaraki breaking down his entire character and why I love him as a villain. He's going on about how society forgot about him. Hero Society never came to rescue him. And I think that is such a fascinating story arc because him and Deku are essentially the same. All Might found Deku. All for One found Shigaraki. and it led them down two completely different paths. Granted, Deku met All Might way older, so his mom at least, was still in his life most of that time, but it just shows that society has failed Tomura, and that's why he wants to burn it down and start anew, which I think is a valid thing to do. It's one of those things where like Killmonger is kind of right, Namor is kind of right, even though their methods are insane. What are your thoughts on Shigaraki now, as opposed to him being the whiny brat from season 1, and like kind of how he's grown up to this point?
Well, I think the speech was really powerful in the fact that like it did give me more of his perspective and really understand him more as a character. So now I am kind of on like the fences, like he is kind of right. Like these heroes, they may be saving like random people, but they are leaving their families at the end of the day, and potentially there might be a day where they leave and don't come back. And those are really the people that you should be like prioritizing, like their safety and well-being. So he does have a point there, and I feel like it might influence Deku in the future to where, like, once everything is said and done, I don't know what state everyone will be in at that point, but he
If
might,
anybody's left.
yeah, if anybody's there to listen, he might mention that. And I'm not saying Deku will go evil or anything, but he might say, like, there are people in this society that do need extra care, extra help, and we're not doing the best job of providing that. Or just like, trying to also express that, like, hey, he's right, he might have been, and I don't know if they'll find out this season or not, whether or not he was like the son of a hero, but he was related to a hero, and that was the person that ultimately led him down this path and abandoned him, even though they felt that it was the right choice. So it definitely brings another layer of complexity to this whole conflict for sure.
Yeah, and I think it was great how Bones went out of their way to flashback. This isn't the manga too. This isn't just an anime thing, but we flash back to the heroes' families. We see Deku's mom. We see Bakugo's mom. We see Endeavor's family, and then you also have the subtext in your head. Shigaraki doesn't know this, but it's like, yeah, heroes leave and they don't take care of their families. That's fine, but also the greed, right? That led Endeavor down the path he went down, like ruining his marriage, destroying his family. His entire family essentially hates his guts because of the path that he walked to get to where he is now.
Yeah.
And it's like, would the world have been better off without Endeavor? Would the Todorokis have been better off without the hero Endeavor and just Inji Todoroki? And that's the failing of this hero society. By making it a profession, they're not true heroes, which is what Stain was saying the entire time, which I think is fascinating, how the man was in season 2, has not been seen since, and he still affects the story. Because, yeah, the only true hero was All Might. Everyone else is here for selfish goals, and that allows people like Shigaraki and Twice and Toga to fall through the cracks. And he made really interesting points. And I'm glad you mentioned Deku, right? Because Deku, we've never seen Izuku like this. Deku straight up said to Shigaraki's face, "You're the only person I hate."
Yep.
The only person I will not forgive. And it's like, we've never seen that side of Izuku before.
No, and I was kind of scared a little bit because he grabbed his neck in such like a forceful way. I'm like, what is he about to do?
Yeah, it's shocking, and I wonder what happens next episode. Because I don't know if anybody saw the preview or the title of the next episode. I don't want to spoil it, but it's going to be interesting to see how said character that's featured in that preview reacts to what's going on in this battlefield. Simply because, yeah, we've never seen Deku go that hard, and I wonder if that hatred will be a major factor. Welcome, Perp. Shigaraki's the GOAT. Yes. I mean, yeah, Shigaraki as a character is so great because throughout the entirety of the show, I kept questioning what makes this guy the big bad of the series. And then we get My Villain Academia. And it all clicks, right? You see his traumatic childhood. We see that no hero ever came to save him. And now we just see he wants vengeance. He wants to rebuild the world in his image. I also love how he rejects All for One, right? He's like, yeah, no, I'm not you. I'm going to do my own thing. Which, again, is the reverse of Deku, where Deku wants to be All Might so bad. All Might told him to stop trying to be like me.
Like, get your own thing, Deku. Get your own thing.
Yeah, and Deku's thing is he can kick now.
Yeah. Legs.
He doesn't punch, he kicks. Big difference. Also, I love Black Whip. I love how he's utilizing that, just turning into Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Spider-Man.
So great. Guys, did you have anything else you wanted to hit on My Hero Academia before we move on?
No, I don't think so. I'm just the season's been heating up quite a bit with these past like couple and maybe in like 3 episodes. So next episode it feels like it could be the turning point. Feels like something crazy could happen. I don't know. I'm kind of anxious. I'm ready to see it.
It's gonna break soon because I feel like we're nearing the halfway point of the season. My Hero Academia is always broken up into 2 halves. At episode 13, I think we're on what, like episode 8-ish, 8 or 7, something like that.
Yeah, this was episode 8.
Yeah, so something's gonna happen very soon. Yeah, Gran Torino was great. I love the flashback to Nana Shimura saying she has no son, and she's putting on a strong front, and then we cut and she's in tears and she's breaking down, and it's like that. Ooh, that hurts. And the way Torino mentions her name and Shigaraki's just like, who's that? Ooh, that hurts, because if only he knew. Remember, all this started because his sister told him that their grandmother was a hero. And that caused all of this. Just him knowing that his father snapped, and it led to the Shigaraki we know now instead of the Tenko Shimura, who could have been a great hero if things shook out differently. Yeah. It's painful. Hopefully Gran Torino pulls through. Hopefully Midnight pulls through. Hopefully Midako pulls through.
Yeah.
And God, hopefully Eraserhead is wearing extra thick pants today.
Extra thick, please.
For the love of God, please. We can't let Eraserhead go. We love him too much. Like the flashback where we see from episode 3 him training Deku and all of these kids. It hit. Isaac's right. The music swells in a way that hits a little different now, having context for a lot of this. It hurts. But yeah, if that is a wrap here, we're going to move over to Spy Family, which was a blast. I'm finally caught up, and I've been loving it. It was such an easy binge, you guys, Spy Family. But yeah. We'll get there. Isaac, for the folks who are dropping off because they're done with My Hero Academia, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me at Emblemaniac on Twitter, as long as Elon Musk keeping that one alive, although I doubt that one is going to... Honestly, the more I think about it, I don't think Twitter's going down anytime soon because of how...
start making a backup plan.
Yeah. But either way, and you can find our written work at Phobom Entertainment.
Nice. Jamie, thanks for joining us for My Hero Academia. It's been fun. Where can the folks find you?
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. You know, I'm glad I could jump into the conversation this week. And you guys can find me at Swiper-Art on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And then everything else will be attached to all of that, like my gaming stuff and stuff. So yeah, just search at Swiper-Art. You'll find me somewhere.
It's linked in the description, guys. Don't worry about it. It's good. You guys can also find the podcast on Twitter, like Isaac said, for as long as it's up and running, at the Amateur Otaku. might need to make an Instagram pretty soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might be there in a couple weeks. We'll keep you posted, and you can find me at Novice Cinephile everywhere. Just type in Novice Cinephile, I'll be there. Specifically YouTube. And for Geek Vibes Nation, I have a review of Wednesday, the Netflix show. Check that out. It's a blast. But we will see you all in the live stream in 60 seconds. And if you guys are watching the replay, as always, go beyond plus ultra. Peace.